So we're recording, Rav. Modim
Okay.
l'simcha.
Moadim l'simcha, and thank you very much. Last minute coming. We are started the Mishnah in 22b3. This was not last week. Last week, of course, was Bidikat Chametz, so we couldn't have the shiur. But 2 weeks ago, we started the Mishnah in 22 B3. And there, the first part of the Mishnah, that the question is, if there is a possibility that when she drinks the water, that if she has got a certain merit, that although that she might be defiled or guilty, but because she's got another merit, then it might be that the water would not affect her. So this was the first part of the Mishnah, in Machloket, if it can be Machloket, Rabbi Shimon, Rebbe, that's, I want to start now the second part of the Mishnah. If it is four lines from the head of the column, which he said, Nitmet minchata ad shelo kitcha bekli. You know, we learned that the Sotah, or the suspected Sotah, one of the process that she drinks the water, but also she had beforehand to bring mincha, which is this is a flour kind of a sacrifice. So now the Mishnah says, what happened if this mincha becomes tome? It becomes impure, the tome, and so if it before it was sanctified in the special vessel which had to be there, and this gives that the special kedusha, the special sanctity. Then, if it becomes tome, obviously you can't sacrifice the mincha because tome. But what you can do is tipadeh. You can redeem it, and then it becomes not Ekdesh, it becomes Chulin, it becomes ordinary that everybody can eat, and instead she has to bring another mincha. However, if it became tameh after it was sanctified in this vessel, service vessel, then it is like other menachot, which if they become tameh, then you can't do anything with this. It must be burned. This is the first headline for the mincha. Now the last line starts by saying, Elu sheminchotem nisrafot. The following are those who the menachot must be burned. And the Mishnah comes with a lot of certain different laws here. And we go along now, and we are turning the page to 23a1. אומרת מאני לך, what happened that she goes through the process and she decided to confess that she was defiled. There is already, the mincha was already sanctified, and now she says, I was defiled. Or two witnesses come, and they testified that she was defiled. They saw that she was having sexual relationship with another person, not with her husband. A third case, if she now, for whatever, without any confession, but they say, look, I'm not prepared to drink the water. or the husband, he, for whatever reason, he doesn't want her to doesn't want her to give her the water to drink. Or another case, one whose husband cohabited with her on the way to the temple, because it says that if he cohabitated on the way to the temple after he already blamed her, accused her of the relationship, he was not allowed to have any relationship until the matter will be cleared with in the temple. But now, if he said the husband, he said he had a relationship with her, then you can't continue because nothing, the process won't work that he was guilty as well, not only her. And then, וכל הנשואות לכהנים, and in case of all who are married to Kohanim. Now, who are married, those that are married to Kohanim, if the Sotah is married to a Kohen, regardless whether she herself a daughter of a Kohen and non-Kohen, the remnants of her mincha, because the mincha you had to take, in the process, you take mitzvah, you take with the 3 fingers part of it and to burn it. And now, if so, the Gemora says that if the mincha of a Kohen's wife cannot be eaten because it is owned by her husband, he's got a part on it, then every mincha which a Kohen have got a part in it shall not be eaten, and it has to be burnt. So these couple of things, possibilities, are the mincha will be burnt. Now they continue the Mishnah. If the daughter of Israel, in other words, non-Kohen, is married to a Kohen, her mincha must be burnt because he is following what we said a minute ago. If the Kohen Sotah are being married to a Kohen, then the mincha cannot be eaten, has to be burnt. However, but if a Kohenes, which means the daughter of a Kohen, is married to Israel, then no problem. The mincha can be eaten. There is no problem with that. Now, what is the continued the Mishnah? The legal differences between a male Kohen and a female Kohen, which we call it Kohenet, the Kohenes. מה בין כהן לכהנת? What is the difference between a Kohen and a Kohenet? Kohenet is a daughter of a Kohen. מנחת Kohenet נאכלת. As we said, the mincha of a Kohenet can be eaten. But a mincha of a Kohen, the mincha of a Kohen cannot be eaten. There is a reason which the Gemora learns for. There is a difference between is mincha or te'er mincha. The next difference between a Kohen and a Kohenet. A Kohenet can be permanently disqualified from being a Kohenet, which means she will not be able to marry a Kohen, and as does the Gemora says, one sec. So then now the Mishnah lists the differences between a Kohen and a Kohenet. So he said the mincha of a Kohenet can be eaten. Mincha of a Kohen cannot be eaten. Kohenet mitchalelet, a daughter of a Kohen, if she was had a relationship with a person which she was not allowed to have a relationship, is not like a kosher to marry a Kohenet, then mitchalelet, she becomes like profaned, and means she can't eat truma, and she cannot marry a Kohen, and she cannot become, she can't ever become kosher to marry a Kohen.
Rabbi, what page are we on?
We are 23, 23A1. In the middle, 23A1.
Thank you.
The next difference, this is the Kohenet. However, a Kohen, if he had a relationship with a woman, he's not allowed to have a sexual relationship, he does not become defamed from the Kuna, which means as long as he's married to this woman, then he can't fulfill his duties as a Kohen. But it's not remained forever, which not in the case of the Kohenet, that when she becomes profaned, then she disqualified forever. But the Kohen is not permanently profaned. Now the next difference. A Kohenet may contaminate herself with the Tumah from the dead. You know, a Kohen, as we say, is not allowed. A Kohen may not contaminate himself with the Tumah from the dead. Because as a Kohen, he has to keep away from anything which can make him impure by contact, touching a dead person. Next difference, a Kohen may eat Kodshei Kodashim offerings. There are different kind of sacrifices. Some of them are defined as Kodshei Kodashim, the Holy of Holies, like Chatat, Korban Chatat, for sin offering. Then there are part which the Kohen, in such a sacrifice, part of it has to be brought on the altar to burn on the altar, but there are parts that the Kohen can eat. He may eat from the Kodshei Kodashim, but the Kohenet may not eat from the Kodshei Kodashim, from this kind of offering. Now turn to the next page. It's still the continue of the Mishnah, but I'm using, of course, the English text. So therefore, I don't know if you do. Then it's 23A2 now. If not, you can just continue with the Hebrew on the same page. From the differences between, we say, a male Kohen or female Kohenet, which means the daughter of a Kohen, now the Mishnah comes to list differences between a man and a woman. There are laws which differ between a man and a woman. Namely, a man who is confirmed Metzorah, which he had this leprosy, must let his hair grow and must rend his garments. This does not apply to a woman. A woman who is conferred Metzorat need not let her hair grow or rend her garment. Another difference, Aish Medir et Bno Nazir. There is a possibility for a person to impose on his son to become a Nazirite. Impose a vow of Nazirut upon his son as being the father. But a mother can't do it. אין האישה מדרת. A woman cannot impose a vow of Nazirut upon her son. Another difference between men and women. A man can shave his head at the conclusion of a Nazirut on the basis of Nazirut offering of his mother. Which means, one second. If the father, it's very interesting, if the father accepted on himself to be a Nazirite, and the Nazir, after he finishes the period of Nazirut, he has to bring a sacrifice to the Bet HaMikdash. What happened? The father died before he brought the sacrifice, but he already dedicated some money for the sacrifice that he was intent to bring. And he died. Now his son, after he died, he says, I became a Nazirite, like my father, because he wants to use the allocated money for sacrifices when he will come out of the state of Nazirut. So he can do it, and when after his father died, because when the Nazir finished the period of Nazirut, he has to bring a korban, but also he has to shave his hair. So the Mishnah says here, the son can actually perform what his father would have done if he died and already he dedicated some money for the sacrifice. This applies only to a male son and not to a woman. Then, although the woman, she also entitled to inherit his father, but in this way she cannot become a Nazir to replace the dead father. Next differences.
Rabbi, can you move to the right?
What?
Can you move to the right? Your face is halfway. That's better.
I'm sorry.
Mm.
Can you see
Yeah.
me now? Can you see me?
Yes, that's better.
Okay.
Rav, that is better. John, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Now, there is another simple matter. A father is entitled to marry off his daughter, to betroth his daughter. In other words, he can choose his son-in-law, and we are talking about his young daughter, that she is not yet mature to be independent, that is empowered, the father is empowered to betroth his daughter without her consent while she is a minor. However, this kind of a right has not got to the mother. the man אין האישה מקדשת. A woman cannot betroth her daughter. Another difference. A man can sell his daughter as a servant, as a shifcha, a maid servant. Again, we are talking about a minor daughter, before 12. He can sell her. He's got this right to sell her. This right was not given to her mother. A woman cannot sell her daughter. Another difference. A man is stoned unclothed. If a person was sentenced to death by being stoned, as we know, there are certain kind of crimes when the person committed it, he has to be stoned. Now the Mishnah says, when he's stoned, he's stoned unclothed. In other words, it's completely naked when he's stoned. This does not apply to the woman. A woman is not stoned unclothed. Of course, we are talking about the same, doing the same crime. If the woman, let's say, she is guilty of having married to, and she had a sexual relationship with another person, then when it's stoned, she's stoned, she's not uncovered. She will have her clothes on. And then the next one, האיש נתלה. A man's body is hanged after being put to death. There was the law. We didn't have a death by hanging. We know they've got four kinds of death. Skila, sreifa, ereg, chenet. Stoning, burning, fire, skila, sreifa, ereg, to be killed by sword. They used to put a sword into the heart, and the chenek, or by strangling. But all this done when the person was to put to death in one of these kinds of death, afterwards he has to be hanged. And the Torah said, all this was made leman yishmau v'yirau, because everybody should see the fact that this person committed this crime, and this obviously meant to warn others not to do it. But this is only applies to a male, but not to a woman. A woman's body is not hanged. And the last difference between man and woman, האיש נמכר בגנבתו. The law is, what happens if a person is a thief and he stole, and he was found that he is guilty? So obviously he has to pay to return what the theft, or if he hasn't got it, he has to pay the value of this. And there is also, as we know, there is a double paid, kefel. But what happens if a man is guilty of theft and he hasn't got money to pay? What do you do with this? The law is that the man can be sold for a theft. He will be sold to be a slave in order to be able to pay for the theft. This does not apply to women, but a woman cannot be sold for her theft. So this is what, as I said, according to Torah law, if one commits a theft and cannot make restitution, he is sold into slavery in certain specific circumstances to pay for the loss. Only a man can be sold as a slave to make restitution for his theft, but not a woman. So this is the Mishnah using the subject that we were talking about, the Sotah, how there is a difference. This is when we sum up the Mishnah and what he said, we were talking about differences between certain laws which are applicable to a man and not to a woman in all different things. We were talking about the flower offering, we spoke about if there is sarat, leprosy, what will be the process differences between men and women, the kind of authority that the father has got on his son to make him to be a Nazarite, or to sell his daughter, the minor daughter, or to marry off his minor daughter to a person. All these are certain rights which are given to a male and not to a female. And then the last one, we also about our man, when he's punished, when if he's put to death, he afterwards he will be hung, not a woman, and about a person acted as a thief, and he has to pay for a theft, and he has not money to do it. The law says he should be sold as a slave, but all this does not apply to women. So this is the Mishnah, a long Mishnah, which of course the following will be explaining every point of the Mishnah. So I thank you for last minute attending the shiur, because I thought I had what do you say, a guilty conscience. Why should we cancel learning of Torah? Originally, I thought I won't be available, but I saw that during the day things have changed. So therefore, last minute, I asked to if you are prepared to attend the shiur, and I'm very pleased that you did, and I'm very pleased that we had the shiur. So I hope, Emir Hashem, next Thursday, we should have the shiur again. Now,
Thank you very much, Rav.
Thank you, Rav.
Appreciate it.
Really appreciate
and,
it.
Rav,
Ruben, I'll give you notice that I'll ask Feli to tell everybody about the Tuesday night shiur. There again, I'll have to cancel because my daughter Aviva persuaded me to come with her family for 3 days to Eilat. I've never been to Eilat, and they are going for a holiday to Eilat, and she persuaded me that I should join them. And I've never been in Eilat.
Unbelievable.
I was born in Israel, never been to Eilat. And interesting why, because I never, in my young age, I didn't want to leave Israel. And there was a question, how can you leave Israel to Eilat is like outside of Israel. It's like going to a foreign place. And I didn't want to leave Israel. However, this changed after I lived in South Africa for 50 years outside of Israel. So there is no reason for me now not to be able to see what is Eilat. So my daughter persuaded me to come with them on Tuesday night. So on Tuesday night, we want to have a shiur. Tell Feli to send a message to everybody.
Enjoy your holiday, Rav.
Yeah,
Enjoy your
thanks,
holiday.
and Shabbat Shalom, and
Okay.
Modim L'Simcha. And
Shabbat
thank you, Rav.
Shalom and Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. Shabbat
Chag
Shalom.
And I hope that you enjoyed Yontef of Pesach. Not an easy Yontef, of course, but I hope that you did enjoy it, and looking forward to the last day. Obviously, we did already a change in our davening. We were asking for rain during the winter, and we, on the first day of Pesach, we changed to between Tal and Matar. We say 10 more Tal and 10 Bracha. So now, according to the calendar, the Jewish calendar actually is now starting the Aviv, what is spring, season. But to tell you that it's already hot and so on, now the weather is completely crazy here. There are days that were very, very cold. You have to wear a jersey, and the next day can start to be hot. So it's not stable yet, the weather, but we hope that things will stabilize